But today we're going to take a look at the best team in Americas, and no, it's not Sentinels. We're taking a look at Leviatan versus Furia here on Haven. We're going to start with round 4, where Leviatan are on the defensive side.
Lo que ya se va a jugar. Vamos a ver qué quieren proponer aquí los jugadores de Furia, que de momento se meten muy cerca de su spawn. No quieren presionar de más. Yaspas por ahora se está encontrando con absolutamente nadie. Pueblo fantasma en el sector de C. Presión en la zona de B por parte de los furiosos. Atención con Conan, que está también allí como ancla esperando que nadie le presione en la zona de puertos dobles. Por el momento, nada en la ronda, Juca.
Por ahora, Furia, que quiere sacar información, está teniendo la tendencia de terminar hacia el sitio de A. No han ubicado al Operator todavía, no saben dónde se encuentra Aspas. Y nuevamente arrancamos, a ver si alguien adelantó, si alguien presionó. Ahí se viene el Correcaminos a sacar toda la información. Limpia la zona de corte y Correcaminos también por larga. Sabe que pueden terminar hacia el sitio de A. Viene la luz guía, ya spoteaba información. Saben que puede ser el sitio de A. Está Leviatan aguantando. Masino y Noswer, que se quieren hacer fuertes dentro del side de A. Y cuidado con Furia, que se viene el Execute, Cantar.
Viene Musera hacia adelante, la punta de lanza por parte del equipo de Brasil. Comenzaba también a conectar los disparos, sin embargo se encontraba con absolutamente nadie. Empezaba también el castigo por parte de Noswer, que se abría, encontraba el primero, estaba en contra de Cabo. Noswer y Leviatan Tex. Los tres jugadores de Leviatan levantando allí la ronda, dejando a Alias y a Khalil completamente hacia el sector de corta de A. Se desactiva el circuito ofensivo de Furia y va a ser el punto número 2 para Leviatan.
Hay que guardar, Furia tiene que guardar. Saben que están en corta, los tienen spoteados. La Spike está comprometida. Y vamos a ver, Liasi y Khalil, que ya estaban ahí aguantando en corta, están prefireando.
Okay, so let's break this down then. And yes, I was playing it a bit faster and slower to get through some of those moments. Let's first start with Leviatan and their defensive setup, because one thing that we need to know here is that Aspas has an op, as you can see, and King has a judge. And those two are over towards kind of the C side of the map, right? We've got Aspas here down towards C long, and you got King here with his judge in Garage. Now, this is one thing I would maybe say, and I think Tex, did have some struggles on Killjoy, just in terms of, probably not used to playing that agent a ton, but it looks like he's going to have to get used to it. But here he's got his turret here anyway. Now you could argue that, hey, this turret acts as kind of a bit of a bait, right, for King's judge and that kind of thing. But I would also maybe say, like, with an op and a judge here, these two are going to be pretty committed to staying here, right? So could we find a better place for that turret? Maybe, right? But now let's talk about Furia as well, because as they come for this A exec, as we see, they're going to come down here, and they're going to send that Omen down short. Now, I think that that's an interesting choice, right? So they're going to come into the site, the smokes come in, the dash comes in as well, and you're going to see in just a second, the timing is fine here. We're going to get this Omen flash coming across. You can just see it starting just there, coming across the site just here, and we're going to get this Sky Flash, you can just see there, coming across around here as well. And if you take a look, actually, at Noswer's kind of POV here, he does get blinded by the Omen Flash, and he doesn't get blinded by the Sky Flash, because you can't be blinded by both. Once you get hit by an Omen Flash, you can't get hit by a Sky Flash whilst you're nearsighted. So he just gets hit by the Omen Flash, and this is my first kind of thought, that would we be better with the Omen, maybe out towards long instead, and instead flashing across here? Right, like towards short and that kind of direction. Is that a better flash? Do we need our Omen there? Because you might think, oh, well, there's two of them there, so these guys are going to come up and, be together and be brave or whatever, but they don't really move, right? And in fact, Leviatan completely deal with these other three coming up on the site before these two have really ever moved, right? And they're going to get Omen flash themselves, which does make you wonder. Now, this whole game was littered with, like, Viper is OP on Haven. And trust me, if teams aren't playing Viper on Haven, you should know they are trolling. They are at this point, they are legitimately trolling, because it's so obvious that Viper is so insanely good on this map with this setup. And you'll see it here with this orb here, because it just allows, Noswer, who's flashed here, he dips inside the orb, he's completely safe. Right, we'll see it in just a second right here, right? He's flashed now, he's in the orb, he's safe. He comes back out, he plays around. He's coming, dipping. They're both Omen and him are dipping out of the orb, right? That allows us the time to get Tex back in onto the site. He's now been able to flood in, and it's completely isolated these three from the other two who are coming up in short, and it's just insanely strong. It's just insanely strong. You see that these guys really haven't moved. As I said, they did get Omen flashed earlier, so that's part of it. But we completely destroy this entire part of the exec, before these two ever really got into the round at all. And as you saw, they just end up saving. Okay, next one here, round number 7. And I love the start of this round.
Ay, Dios. Miedito, ¿eh? Vamos a ver qué pasa. La ronda número 7 y Aspas. Nadie diga nada, por favor. Silencio. Aspas se encuentra ya avanzando el sector de Miguita. Atención, porque ahora queda allí anclado completamente en la zona de ventana. A ver si de pronto alguien le da cara. Cuidado porque no puede avanzar de más. El bot está bastante cerca. Le va a dar la información. Sin embargo, Aspas todavía no se decide. Lo tiene muy cerca.
¡Lo vio!
Cuidado porque Khalid ya le dieron la información. Aspas que se abra. Ahí está la tormenta.
So yes, first thing we see, of course, is Aspas sneaking past the default Killjoy turret here. Now, honestly, with the knives, they might not even need their Viper Wall, right? By the time this turret, it maybe sees him, it maybe doesn't. If this wall goes up, you have to, you know, it'll be close, maybe if this does see him or not. But, of course, I love this because the wall that you just saw that obviously obscures this kind of default Killjoy turret, well, I'm just going to call this the TMV wall from now on, right? Okay. Not that I was the only person who had this idea, I'm sure, but you know, I am one of them. And Leviatan, I think that this is actually slightly different to all of the other ones we've seen, where it's kind of, I would call this the perfected version of this wall, right? Because you can see it's far enough back that we still get this little corner in there, right? It still allows you to flood in from Garage this way with a little gap on it just that side as well. It still obviously cuts through Garage and has a little corner in here as well, and it cuts off the default Killjoy turret. So it kind of has everything, this wall that the Leviatan have put down exactly. So this is probably the kind of like perfected version of it. And yeah, this Killjoy turret is kind of somewhat past its sell-by date with all the Vipers we're seeing. But Aspas, of course, with the knives, as I said, he might not have even needed it with how late the turret kind of came up from Khalil there. He gets himself into a really good position, and this is obviously the problem. And even, you know, teams have started, and I might do a whole video about this as well. Like, teams have started putting this Killjoy alarm bot down in here as well, because you kind of have to, because, again, they know that this turret is not doing the job, right? They know that it's not good enough anymore, which has its limitations as well, putting down this alarm bot, which, yeah, well, maybe one day I'll get to that as well. But, you know, what that allows, of course, is for then, you know, this Killjoy, as soon as you get spotted outside of Garage, Aspas has the freest kill of your life, and, you know, Khalil doesn't even have a clue in terms of what's hit him. I mean, it's so easy, right? It's just so easy, and I think, you know, we'll be seeing probably a lot of this if people continue to use that. It's the freest kill you will ever see, and Killjoy down. Now let's see how the rest of the round plays out.
Viendo completamente el ritmo el brasileño. Ahora se tira para atrás. Ahora tiene la ventaja en este instante el Leviatan. ¿Cómo cambia el ritmo el equipo de Latam? Por Dios, Aspas nuevamente de cara. Viene a buscar con la tormenta de cuchillas a ver si lo puede hacer. Ahí está Forjaminos que le da la información que se encuentra en la parte izquierda hacia el sector de larga de A. Se calman las cosas. Cookie.
Vamos a ver, cuidado que quedan 40 segundos, van a tener que ejecutar. Ahí estaba Aspas que está aguantando con la tormenta de cuchillas. Saben que probablemente va a ser el sitio de A, ya lo tienen. Ahí se viene el execute de parte de Furia, paranoia. Tiene que replegarse hacia atrás. La escuadra de Leviatan, cuidado con Aspas. Van a iniciar el flanco y solo Portillo. Noswell intenta descontando, favorable para la escuadra de Leviatan. Excelente, Noswell con la doble.
And so we saw there, obviously, as, you know, Furia again tried to come on towards this A site. This Viper Orb, again, I mean, you know, they did the Omen Flash that I talked about last round, but of course, it doesn't really help. You know, it doesn't really do that much, because again, this Viper Orb is just there. They can't get past it. And again, we're flooding in onto the site, right? We've already got like 4 people here by the time that, you know, this, you know, kind of fights are actually happening on the site. And it's just so hard to stop. And you see, like, Havoc, it's so tough to know where to go. And I said that this map was littered with good Viper stuff, and it really, truly was. But it's not just Viper who is good, because there was someone else who shined in moments of this game as well, as we'll see in round 13.
Ahora sí, el execute, cuidado a lo que va a proponer Furia. Van a poner una agresiva por parte de medio, ya van a entrar rápidamente hacia el sitio de A. Tienen que leer que les van a comer el mapa, cuidado con esto. Se vienen los humos y el execute que va a ir a Flu W. Ahí estaba, no hay antelur, no la leen. Ya entran, son dueños, amos y señores del sitio de A. Se inicia el plante, cuidado a la espalda. 3 por atrás, 2 en corta y 1 en larga. Cuidado con Leviatan que ya plantaba rápidamente y tiene que retomar la escuadra de Furia. Está aguantando dentro del humo. Ahí estaba Masino con la cochina, pero no saben que les van por la espalda. Tienen que tener. Ahora sí, se viene el execute y ya lo saben. Se hacen fuerte. ¡Masino! ¡Aparece Masino con la doble! Ya descontaban de Uciera. Cuidado que empiezan a desplantar. 3 para 3. Se viene el flash. Ya baiteaba. Quedaba Aspas solo. ¡Aspas! ¿Qué estás haciendo? ¡Triple!
Yeah, the Aspas guy is pretty good, huh? Well, this round, obviously, as we saw, was just basically a run down A, right? And there's, again, something that we need to talk about here, as I talked about kind of before. Techs on Killjoy, still, I think, definitely making some mistakes, and it honestly almost cost them this round if it wasn't for Aspas's heroics, because as you saw, yeah, they're going fast towards A, but Furia have actually come with a triple stack, early walk down mid, have heard all of this as well, and are on a very fast flank with 3 players. The thing is, you might be like, oh, that's fine, surely they know from the Killjoy setup, but they don't, because Tex hasn't got any Killjoy setup, because we're, planting the spike, and you see he's still got his turret in hand, and he's still got his Nano Swarm and a Frenzy here, so that's what he used all of his money on, right? So he hasn't put it down, and you'll see where it goes in just a second here, where he's actually going to plant it on top of the box, right? But the thing is, this turret, like, yeah, sure, it somewhat watches the flank, right? But not until they're, like, already, like, right on your doorstep. And you see that they play this, like, aggressive post-plant position here, right? And that's fine, and Mazzino gets a shorty. But they don't realize, I think, that anyone is truly flanked until this Sky Flash comes in, like, right in just a second. You're going to see it come out. In just a second here from Furia, they're going to send a Sky Flash. And I don't think they realize that, like, anyone is actually flanked till kind of that point. At which point, I mean, look at the map here. They are just completely penned in, right? And they make a good choice on the fly here after that Sky Flash comes in. They decide, okay, let's take our chances. Let's go forward. And you're going to see here that Mazzino, they just sprint forward, these guys, and just, come out of their own Viper Orb and just go for it, right? And they manage to get the kills that they need. The problem is now for them, though, as, Furia coming back on into the site, the spike is not planted for Leviatan. Right now, they're on the wrong side of the spike. So now they're in trouble again and, have to basically rush and panic to get back, into the round, essentially. And, it doesn't go well for them. And then Aspas obviously just does what Aspas does and hits this insane shot right there and saves Leviatan. And now, finally, round number 21, which really was just kind of easy.
Sin economía, vamos a ver Leviatán. Tiene la contención el viaje de las sombras de parte de Mazzino. Cuidado que ahí estaba el humo. Van a spotear y a denegar la operator de Musera, que sabe que inicia casi siempre en larga de C. Está holdeando el humo. ¿Qué estás haciendo? Está loco MW. Cera, se viene la paranoia. Ahí estaba, ya le entraba a Aspas, fallaba y Aspas que lo denegaba. Se lo terminaba llevando, está comprometido. Va a caer bien con Aspas con la doble. Conan que se llevaba la vida de Noswer. Va a plantar el señor Aspas. Y Leviatán que ya tiene el side C. Dueños, vamos, sí señores. Situación de retoma para la escuadra de Furia. Y ahí llegaba la contención de parte de Tex para echarlos para atrás. Hay que hacer tiempo. Está aguantando Tex dentro del humo. Si le quieren presionar, tiene que irse para atrás. Lias y Havoc y Khalil ahora a retomar, pero no. Se viene la guardaneta. Hay que guardar porque si no, se nos va el primer mapa, Cantor.
Leviatán muy correcto en la toma de decisiones.
But yeah, this one truly just was very, very easy. I mean, we start off the round just here, and we're going to see this Omen Smoke obviously come down C, which plays a very pivotal role in this round. Now, this Sky Flash, not quite sure if this does hit King or not just there, but this is the thing, right? That, again, just this Viper setup, just its mere existence a lot of the time, and if you do just send, like, one player here to get caught by Sky Flashes and stuff like that, or destroy recon darts or whatever, right? It creates pressure, and it's going to keep these guys here because there's a lot of pressure here. And this Viper wall makes it very difficult to, have only one player here defending it, right? You're going to need 2 a lot of the time. And you see the benefits of double controller as well, where we put down this smoke and we just walk all the way up to the doorstep of the site, right? I mean, we're literally just there, right? And it's a good idea by Leviatan, right? And, they just send in one smoke here, and then it's like, well, let's go. Right, we're done, right? And there you go. Again, you just see, like, double controller coming in, just, make this op basically useless, because it's just difficult for MW here, right? It's just difficult for him that, in goes an Omen Flash, in goes Sky Flash, right? He's having to turn and make a difficult shot. The wall can't go up in time because they don't have that information that they're, already there and on them. So the wall is a bit late going up as well. And then the same thing happens here, right? Pop Flash through the wall. Okay, Conan does well, turns it, gets a nice kill, but he gets traded. Good from Leviatan. And then it's just spiked down. Oh, whilst that's happening, by the way, we should also mention that across the map, you've got King lurking up A here while also all of this is going on. He actually goes and destroys this turret, which actually brings the Killjoy back as they're planting the spike, right? So this is probably one of the reasons that Fury decided to save not just the Killjoy lockdown, but also, this Viper could come and lurk through A, right? Could come through B, maybe. Like, it's, it's kind of a bit of a tricky situation for them. But, I mean, this round was easy, right? And maybe, you might say that's somewhat on Furia, but just the strength, again, of just, Leviatan and the idea that they had here was, not the craziest in the world, but it gets them to 12, and then they would go on and convert this map.